Okay. Oh, okay, perfect. All right. So let me quickly share my screen. I'll quickly roll out some examples for you so that we will be good in understanding, right? So let me know if you're able to see my screen. Okay. Okay. So here again, what I can say, it's not like not data. I can call it as fact. Okay. So basically, normally, right, any if you take any kind of data, there are like two types of data. One is transactional data, right? One is kind of what I can say analytical data. Okay. Okay. So basically, let us come back as to a bit another step more, right? So I'm just giving you this as a fact, right? So I'm just telling you what is this 10,000. So sorry. So what is 10,000? So I just gave you some number. Okay. Is it having any story? No, right? Like 10,000 can be anything, right? It can you can just assume any n number of things. And right now, if this was given to you, you can't do anything, right? So what is that you want to do, right? Now I'll just slowly keep on adding some dimensions to it. Okay. Then you'll have some kind of meaning in there. Okay. For 2022. Okay, this is Feb. Okay, this is Hyderabad. Okay, and this is I can say uh, Coke, right? Right, and this is maybe PET bottle, right? And this is 1.5 liter, right? And we can now just link just think about this value. Okay, now add this entire part. Okay, for this entire part, now when you combinedly read entire this thing, then this 10,000 will make sense, right? For example, I'll read it in this way. Okay, I have a Coke bottle. Okay, so Coca-Cola is having many products, out of which Coke is one product, for example. Okay, Coke PET bottle. Okay, and this is of 1.5 liter. Okay, and in Hyderabad location for the month of February, and in 2022, so 10,000 is the sales. Okay, I mean, is it making sense, or you're still not able to understand?
Yes, got it.
Right. So basically, just if you think only about this one, you can't get any value. There is no story for this one, right? But when you add this entire dimensions to it, right, so then it will tell you a story. Okay, now this 10,000, okay, is nothing but the sales of a Coca-Cola product of 1.5 liter 10 PET bottle, okay, in Hyderabad location for the month of February and the year of Jan. The value is 10,000, right? So now this is making sense. Now here, this what I call this as is data. Okay, and in fact this is nothing but a fact. Okay, but when you add these dimensions to this fact, then only it will become a entire data. Okay, this whole concept is called data. Okay, I'll just try to merge. Okay, now this is data, right? Now what is metadata? I'll tell you, right? So this is nothing but metadata, because this, it is telling, okay, the metadata, it is the properties of a any data, given data, right? So what I'll do is I'll just merge this one and I'll just keep it as metadata. Okay, now I can give you another example. right? So this, we have taken this one as a normal sales example, right? So let's take another example now. How are you defining a pen, right? Normally, how you are going to define a pen? Like, you can't say when you see a bottle, okay, you can't tell that it is a pen, right? Because pen is having some certain properties. Okay, if you consider pen as a metadata, okay, the metadata will be the refill, okay, the container of the refill, the cap, right? These are the different properties, and these are nothing but metadata, okay, which actually helps a pen to qualify its properties. Okay, so I think maybe we can talk on some more examples. Okay, let's come back again to the data that we are going to get on a day-to-day basis, right? Normally, again, as I told you, right, the thing will be having transactional operations and analytical data, like transactional data and analytical data. Again, so the data is, this data is again like consider for initially this is a transactional data. Like, again, I can give you some examples, right? So transactional and analytical. Okay, so normally for these kind of Anaplan and all these things, right, what we do is we actually mostly we will be loading the analytical data, for example, because we just need to only plan the things. Okay, we don't want each and every part of the data, right? For example, I can give you another example. So when you go to an ATM, right, so when you take a mini statement, okay, how many transactions that you're going to get?
5 transactions,
Last 5 transactions or last 10 transactions, for example, let's say, right? So but in order to get 6 months of data, right, mini statement of 6 months, right? So where you need to go?
online login.
Yeah, whatever it is, like that means you're going to bank, right? Bank or online, right? But this is just an from the ATM itself you can withdraw this, right? So now what I'll tell is, this is transactional data, okay, and this is analytical data. And is it making sense, or I can give you some kind of context around this one as well, but at least so far, are you clear until here? If you have any questions, please ask. The reason why this mini statement will have only last 10 transactions, because normally analytical data, in order to get this information for past 1 year or 6 months or even more, the system takes some good amount of time to collect the data and share it with you, right? Now if I give this feature in ATM, right, definitely the performance of the ATM will get reduced. I mean, are you with me, or am I going very technical? Okay, team, like I want this to be a kind of interactive session, because based on your understanding only I can give you multiple examples. Okay, see, if you're very kind of not confident in terms of speaking English, you can also speak in Telugu. I don't mind anything. Okay, or even in Hindi also I can understand. Okay, so it's up to you. So if you want to better understand these concepts, then we'll then we will definitely understand the things that we are going to create in Anaplan. Okay, without understanding these basic concepts, you can't go ahead and create the things in Anaplan or learn the technical aspects of Anaplan, and at the end you can't properly kind of do well in the interview, right? So far, are we clear, or you have any questions? Like the analytical data, why this data will not be provided to Minute ATM is because, let's suppose, think you are a user, you're going to an ATM and you're like, we have inserted your card and you're like, kind of, okay. So, okay. So 1 second. Just give a moment. Mm. Okay, perfect. Okay, fine, great. So now when you go to an ATM, right, and when you're trying to draw something, some kind of like, suppose you want to draw some 200 rupees or 300 rupees, for example, or maybe 1,000 or 10,000, for example. What if it is taking some, 2 to 3 minutes of time? Because the reason why I am telling you, because this analytical data will be less normalized. Okay, I know, like, maybe normalization is again a technical concept. It is nothing but, the number of, what I can say, interactions or maybe in a kind of connections between the tables will be less in terms of analytical. But okay, for the transactional, it will be more, normalized. That I can say, at least, that means you wanted to get the data fast, right? So if it is more normalized, you will be doing that, you will be getting the data on a, you will be working on a small data set. Okay, so which is why when you go to an ATM, right, hardly that, withdrawing process will not take more than hardly 30 to 40 seconds or even less. Okay, but okay, for even for the mini statement also, it will not take even more, not even like 30 to 40 seconds, right? But when you come to this online or maybe go to a bank and ask them to, like, download the analytical data for maybe 5 years or 4 years, definitely it is going to take a lot of time, because it will be having less normalized data, and in order to establish that connection, and you need to, like, download it, right? So download it by a different medium, right? So then it will be interacting with the less normalized data, and it will take some good amount of time to get the data. Okay, now, so the reason why they are making this as more normalized is because they don't want to hurt the customers who are at the ATM, because there will be long queues at the ATM, and if one person is taking 2 to 3 minutes of time, definitely they'll be pissed off in terms of using the ATM, right? So that is the reason they are going to keep less amount of data in ATM module or maybe the system, and more amount of, obviously, the analytical data definitely will be present at the bank side. Now, normally what happens is, banks are nothing but they're going to use data warehouses. Okay, or maybe, you can call it as data hubs, right? Or maybe data marts. Okay, so these are three other, again, technical concepts wherein the banks or maybe any other business is going to dump their transactional data. Okay, now, are we clear so far, or you want me to again, kind of give some examples in here?
Really, like what you mean to say is, like transactional data is nothing but our day-to-day, business.
Exactly, exactly,
Uh,
exactly,
So it might be like very with very less data. Analytical is nothing but it will be a more the described or the huge data which we'll get from the data warehouses.
exactly, exactly, exactly. So
But,
now in
but
Anaplan,
what you
yeah,
mean to say is like both are same. We are playing with the data anyhow,
exactly,
but the
exactly,
amount of data will be the huge and the small data.
exactly, exactly, exactly. So in ATM, the amount of data will be less, but in bank, the amount of data will be more, right? So that is a kind of, in layman terms, you can call it as. But in Anaplan, right, what we are going to do is we are going to load this, huge amount of data. Okay, because we wanted to analyze, we want to focus the data. Okay, for example, okay, now I wanted to, let's suppose we are in February. Okay, now this is March, right? So now what Coca-Cola product wanted to, what it wanted to do is, okay, last year in March, what are the sales for, let's suppose, Coca-Cola? Okay, then they came to know that in last year, okay, it was like somewhere around 50,000. Okay, so right, so now they have the last year's data. So based on this particular amount, okay, right, business, they are going to manufacture this one or even more. Okay, now what they thought is, okay, since like March is a summer, right? So let's roll out some offers. Okay, and to increase our business. So now last year there was like kind of 50,000, but this year they have kept a target of 75,000. Now in the plan, what I'll do is I'll input this number. Okay, I'll input this number, and against this plan, okay, I'll see whether I'll be able to mark it or not. I can, see my plan. Okay. Now, whether my production is able to like you deliver all the respective products in order to do this business. That is one thing I can check. Okay. In our plan, in your regular planning process, like the supply chain planning process, right? And the other thing is, in order to achieve this target, I'll just consider the February sales also. Okay, let's suppose in February, okay, this is not a summer season, but the sales are less. Okay, just 10,000 only. Now, okay, now if this is the case, I don't think that I'm going to achieve this mark, and then I'll try to come to a decision that okay, I have to roll out some offers. Like maybe if you buy if you buy two pet bottles, like let's suppose one pet bottle is costing 50 rupees. If you buy two, I'll give it for you 80. Okay, so this is one kind of offer, right? Or maybe if you buy three, I will give it to you like somewhere around 120, right? So this is a kind of offer. So this he can make this decision by considering the target. Okay, and by considering the last year target value. Okay, what is the target that he has achieved in the month of March, right? And what is the business that he has done in the previous month. Okay, because consider an example. Suddenly you have a COVID situation, right? Everything is locked down, but I have, in the last February, I have done like somewhere around 10,000 of business, but due to COVID, this February it's like zero, right? Now definitely the products that are manufactured during this period will go wasted, right? I can't keep it there because their expiry date will be like nearing, and I can't completely definitely I'll be at loss. Right now in that situation, what he can do is, okay, now if this is a situation I'll be getting lost, so what I'll do is I'll give some additional offers, right? Wherein I'll give 1+1 offer, 1+2 offer, or maybe like 2+3 offer, something like that I'll announce, so that all my goods are sold. Then at least I be at least at a good position, rather than completely losing everything, right? So this is one important decision that a kind of client can make based on the data that he has, right? So this is a basic example again, right? So now in Anaplan, again coming back to Anaplan, right? So we are going to load the past data, like last 1 year data, okay, last 6 months data, or maybe last 2 years, 3 years of data. Based on that data, right, we are going to analyze how our year long valuation will be, like year long, what I can say, uh, business will be, should be, basically. Let's suppose in the last year I have done 1 crore of business. Okay, okay, now this year I am planning it to like 1.5 crore. Okay, that is my target. Okay, now based on this target, I will be loading the data on a month on month basis. Let's suppose Jan, Feb, March. Right now we are March. In January I will visit. Okay, I'll just compare that. Okay, I'll just give you one example. Okay, in Jan, what I can say, 2021, I have done 1 CR business. Okay, now my new target is, okay, for this Jan again, or maybe for this 2022 year, not Jan, basically for 2021. Okay, for 2022 I'm doing it as one, I'm planning it as for 1.5 CR. Now in 2021 I will be having data for again Jan, Feb, right, March, etc. All these years, all these 12 months, I'll be having the data here. Okay, and right now we are in March. Okay, so I will be loading the data for Jan and Feb as well. Okay, and now I have set the, initially I have set the target for 1.5 crore. Okay, now, okay, in Jan last year I had a business of like, set, let's suppose 10 lakhs. Okay, in Feb also 10 lakhs. Okay, and in March it is 20. Okay, now here in Jan, maybe due to some other situations, the business was 5, and here also the business was 5. right? And in March. Now, based on this, okay, scenario, okay, I'll just compare this with my target. Okay, earlier last year, okay, I got some good business of 10 lakhs per month, but this month, this year, Jan and Feb, I got a very less. Now I have to, you know, provide some kind of offers so that I can meet this target. Okay, so that is what exactly we are going to do in Anaplan. Okay, basically we are going to forecast initially. Okay, this is my forecast. Okay, I am planning to sell, let's suppose, for my forecast I am planning, I have to sell, like, let's suppose, 10, maybe 13 lakhs is my target initially forecast, but actually was 5 lakhs. So then there is definitely a deficit of 8 lakhs, right? Similarly here, the business art have set a target of 12, but here again there is a deficit of 12. Now in this March month, I have to somehow cover this, 15 lakhs of business, right? So in order to do that, along with, this 20 lakhs of target, right? So that means that is coming somewhere around, like, some 30 to 30 35 lakhs, right, in order to achieve this target. Now in the March month, I'll have to roll out some offers to make sure that I am on track in terms of achieving this target. Okay, so ideally that is what exactly I'm, like, thinking about. Okay, maybe I can just change my target in March. Okay, and I'm in total, like, I'm going to, like, plan like 2028, like 30 35 35 lakhs of business. I am assuming that I have to, in order to meet my target, I have to do this 35 lakhs of business in March. So in order to do that 35 lakhs of business, so what are the offers that I have to roll out? Okay, so that I can do this business, right? So at a high level, this is what kind of decision that using Anaplan, the client, people or client folks will be making, so that, they can, make themselves, position well in the market. Okay, so these are some basic examples. And now, again, coming back to data and metadata, right? So now, this is nothing but a data again. So for the year of 2021, okay, this is the, total, year level yearly sales, and for each and every month, this is the sales, this is the sales, and for a different product and product types, or maybe quantity, right? So for this entire, this is nothing but the, kind of data. So this data, we are going to load it into Anaplan, and using that, we are going to forecast the entire, next year, or the maybe coming years. Maybe to some extent, it's not like only for 1 year we are going to do the plan. It's like we are going to do the plan for 5 years, or maybe even 10 years. That is nothing but long range planning, right? Because definitely, what I can tell you is, if you're planning for 1 year, right, and if you're not planning for 5 years or maybe 10 years down the line, definitely you will be lost in between somewhere. Okay, and it will be very difficult for you to track, okay, what is the target that we have set for 5 years, and what is the target that we have set for 10 years, right? So depending upon that, okay, we will be, kind of assessing, okay, where are we now with the target that we have set for 5 years and the 10 years. Will we be able to reach out reach the target or not? If I'm not able to reach the target, so what are all the other options that I have in order to ensure that I'll be again on track to meet the target? Okay, so these are all the decision making process that Anaplan will help, the client to make from their side. Okay, so any questions so far? I know, like, I am speaking from last for half 20 to 30 minutes, but yeah, any questions? I have given you a lot of examples in here.
Yes,
Is
yes.
this a scenario planning?
Yeah, this is one kind of scenario planning. Again, like, in order to, understand, make yourself understand, right? To I have given you this kind of example. But again, like, when you come to a demand planning, right? So definitely, or maybe, demand supply chain, or maybe capacity planning, that is another different use case, wherein you will be, kind of, at the end of the day, for manufacturing also, it's not like, blindly you're going to manufacture the products, right? There should be also some set of, planning that is required in order to manufacture the product, right? For example, in the COVID scenario, nobody has planned anything. It was all of a sudden, and they have already been, what I can say, manufacturing, or manufactured by their regular plan models, right, before COVID. Because, okay, last year, let's suppose we are in 2020, like 2021 March, they have announced that we are going for complete lockdown, right? But 2020 March, I have done a business, or maybe 2020 April, I have done a business of like 20 crores, right? Now, in order to meet the 20 crore business, like on 2021 March, right, I have to again manufacture, to meet the target, the products, right? But all of a sudden, by default, they have already went ahead and manufactured the products that they wanted to do the business for 2021 March, like for around like 10 crores or 20 crores. But all of a sudden, there is a COVID scenario which they have nobody has expected. Now they are at loss of 20 crores because the business is zero, right? Now here again we can give one another scenario in here, we can add one scenario to here. And what if there is a complete lockdown? Okay, now how I can mitigate my manufacturing cost? Okay, so all these things definitely will be coming when you have a kind of a proper plan in place, and different scenarios to plan, so that you can compare and see what is the best plan that is going to work out for me even there is a COVID situation. Okay, so now in if you are using Anaplan, by COVID, we can simply add one scenario. In the COVID scenario, we can simply add one scenario as COVID, and then we will be putting or giving all the required inputs, and then we will be trying to focus on what exactly is the thing happening now. Okay, now how bad I will be if nothing is being sold, then you will get a figure, right? So depending upon that, what you can do is you can roll out some business, you can roll out some lot of offers to ensure that you are at loss at at the bit minimum. You're not like if you have manufactured like some 10 crores of products, right? Or maybe 10 crores business of product, right? Then you will be once you have this scenario added, then you, after rolling out offers, you will be at a position of maybe at 3 crores of loss. So where is 10 crores of loss? Where is 3 crores of loss? I'm just telling you, for example, this is a small or maybe medium scale of a business. But when you compare a business like Apple or some bigger products, like maybe some Coca-Cola product is not a small, right? So Coca-Cola company, right? How big their turnover will be, right? So they can be saving those lots of amounts by using this planning process. So that is actually the crucial part why we need this planning process in the place. Okay, and every year they're going to encourage in terms of their financial planners to perform this planning process and ensure they are meeting their supply demand profits, okay, whatever it is, the revenues and the margins. Any other questions, team?
Can you tell about once again metadata?
Okay, so are you using a mobile phone?
Yes.
So how are you telling that it's a mobile phone? I can call it as a laptop, right? I can call it as a brush. I can call it as a water. I can call it as a bike. So why are you calling it as a mobile phone?
By its physical appearance and
Exactly, right? So it is having a battery, it is having a SIM card, it is having a memory slot, right? And this appearance, the physical structure, the length and breadth of that particular object, right? You are actually define, you are able to define or maybe describe that particular object, which is why you are able to tell that that is a mobile phone, right? Now I can give you another example, right? So for example, if you go to, you can take bike as an example, right? Now how are you telling that as a bike? Because of its properties. Now here properties are nothing but the dimensions, okay? And you can also call it as attributes of that bike, properties of that bike. Now bike, what is bike exactly consisting of? Two tires, right? An engine, okay, a handle, okay, mirrors, you have dome, right? And engine, you have lot of many parts, right? And you have to add a fuel as a petrol, right? So there is a fuel tank for it, right? And you have air in that particular tires, right? You have a headlamp, you have a back headlamp, you have brakes, you have clutch, right? So these are different properties to describe that particular object, and when you combine all these properties, and then only you will be able to come to a conclusion that yeah, this is a bike. Okay, so I can give you some more another same example. Okay, now I can call cycle also as a bike. Okay, but there are less properties when you compare with the bike, right? Cycle just has only two tires and brakes and a handle and a seat, that's it, and the frame. Now when you compare the properties of cycle and when you compare the properties of bike, there is a lot of variance, right? Lot of difference. So now, which is why you are able to identify, yeah, the object which is having less dimensions, and which is then you're able to identify it as cycle, and the object which is having more dimensions, which you are able to identify it as a bike. Okay, now again, so this is at a high level. In a layman terms, you can tell that is a, okay, this is a metadata and this bike is a data, right? Now coming to a normal planning or Anaplan planning process, right? So normally you might have set some target. Okay, let's suppose in your planning process, what you thought that, okay, for maybe next year I want to become a crorepati. That is what your aim. Okay, in order to become that, so you should be planning something, right? Okay, by Jan I have to do this step, for by by February I have to do this step, by March I have to do this step, by by March or April I have to do this step. So these are some different planning steps that you're going to ensure, okay, set up, so that okay, but the next year this I'm going to, if these steps are appropriately followed, then I become a crorepati next year. That is nothing but the planning process. Okay, now in order to establish that process, right, you need to have some dimensions, right? Okay, now here in this planning process, I can call you as some kind of maybe money is one part of dimension. Okay, maybe what is the kind of investment that you want to make? Okay, at what time you wanted to invest it? Okay, and in which particular mode you want to invest, like you want to invest it in a monthly or a quarterly or a yearly, or maybe in which area that you want to invest. Like for example, in mutual funds you want to invest, or you want to invest in real estate, or you want to invest in some business, right? So these are different sectors of business again, right? So at the end of the day, when you combine all these things in your planning process, right, so invest type of investment is one dimension. Okay, mode of investment is dimension, right? And amount, what is the quantity of investment, is one dimension, right? And when you combine all these things, then only that planning process step is making sense for you, right? So maybe I'm still confusing you here, but at the end of the day, for a planning scenario, in order to do it, you need to have a planning process. Definitely there should be some kind of targets that you have to set, and based on that targets, we are going to compare, okay, last year, okay, here we are, and now in this year, here we are. Now I'm like doing better last year compared to the last year, my performance is better or a worst. Okay, if it is worst, now what are the areas that I'm lagging? Okay, that you should be able to find out, and depending on when you correct it, automatically in the next month you'll be on track with your target. So all in all, this is nothing but a kind of simple planning process. Okay, and metadata is nothing but a data that is going to describe about the, but that defines the data basically, that provides you some kind of meaningful story for a particular data or an object. And again, like maybe any other questions before I take forward the discussion? Hello. Hello team.
Yeah, understood, sir.
Okay, perfect. Okay, cool. I think so. In the same way in Anaplan, right? So what we are going to do is we are going to create these dimensions. Like then this is product dimension, this is product type dimension, this is quantity, right? And this is location. Okay. 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 So these are all called as dimensions. Okay. My bad. So these are all called as dimensions. And in Anaplan, we call these as this. Okay. Now, in order to load this data, right? In order to load this data, we have to create all these dimensions in Anaplan. Okay, I need to create product, I need to create product type, I need to create quantity, I need to create location, I need to create time dimension. So time dimension will have both month and time based on the selection that we do in the time settings in Anaplan, right? And once we have all these dimensions in place created, so we will be creating a module including all these dimensions, and we will be creating one line item that is nothing but data. Okay, and then we will be loading the data from that file to this particular module. Okay, so I mean, is it making sense? Or again, like I'll tell you. Okay, now I have to create all these products. Okay, all these dimensions. Oh my god. Okay, fine. Just give a moment. I'll plug in my this thing. 1 second. I'll just stop sharing for a moment.